Your brain, the only time it can drain the toxins that build up over the course of a day is when you sleep. So those of you that are not sleeping enough or getting enough good quality sleep, understand you're fast tracking your way to dementia, Alzheimer's, and a bunch of other horrible shit too. Yo, what's happening, everyone? Welcome back to the Battle Ready Show. I'm your host, Byron Ovenstone. Guys, today I wanted to hit you with a little fun fact. Do you know that 1 in 4 people are millionaires versus 1 in 25,000 people can actually see their abs? The sad reality is that every single one of you have abs. It's just whether you can see them or not. And today I'm going to break down the fundamentals, make it really, really simple for you to bring those abs to the surface, get you there with eliminating as many excuses as possible, because the reality is we all have justifications and reasons as to why we don't have abs. But when you cut away all the noise and all the BS and you really just look at the cold hard facts, it doesn't have to be as complicated as you're trying to make it seem. So today we're going to unpack that a little bit. So we're going to get deep diving into it and just give you the actual roadmap to follow. And then basically the ball's in your court. Do the work, have abs or don't, and stay where you're at. It's up to you. Cool. Step 1, focusing on your nutrition. Shock. Who would have thought, right? What you put in is what you get out. Put in a bunch of shit, you get out a bunch of shit. Put in a bunch of good stuff, things start going the right way. So ultimately, what does good stuff look like? Macronutrients is what you need to focus on. There's only 3 of them: carbs, protein, and fat, right? If you can focus on those 3 and get dialed in from that perspective, you're on lock. Don't worry about the calories and all the other noise. It's not necessary. So we're going to focus on protein, carbs, and fats. Protein, typically speaking, I like to have guys eat that at a 1.5 ratio of their desired weight. So let's say if you're the average American who's 20 to 30 pounds overweight, and you wanted to drop down 20 to 30 pounds, let's say you're 250 and you want to be now 225, just for easy numbers, that is your goal. 225 is your goal desired weight. Take 225 times it by 1.5. That's how many grams of protein you're going to eat a day. That works out to, about 320 grams of protein, give or take, right? I'm not a mathematician, but you can do the calculations on your own. From there, you start paying attention to your carbohydrates. Carbohydrates, typically 1-to-1 ratio. You want to weigh 225 pounds, eat 225 grams of carbohydrates. Again, fats, 0.5 per pound of desired weight. So you want to be 225, take 225 divided by 2, gives you 112.5 grams of fat per day. Now, when you eat this and you train accordingly, you should start seeing your body composition change. Not necessarily the number on the scale initially, but you should see some changes. You should start building muscle mass, losing fat, and the composition will change. Now, where most people go wrong is they just stop eating altogether, or they do a massive, massive deficit. They cut 1,000, 1,500 calories off the plate, and then they go in and they train. Problem with that is you end up just looking like a rectangle, right? You're the same version of who you are now, just slightly smaller. So take a photo of yourself on your phone, pinch the screen. That's what you're doing when you do that kind of diet. Not smart. That's not the goal that you're shooting for. So don't fucking do it. What you're wanting to do is a composition change. You want more muscle mass that's going to increase your metabolism. It's going to make you function better, feel better, and all of the above. So what do? We train to build muscle. That's the second part of this whole process that we're going to follow through now. So you're going to start training better, training smarter. You're going to train to promote muscle mass and building strength. What does that look like? It looks like you getting into a place like this and moving some weight, training bigger compound moves, bench press, deadlift, squats, military press, etc. I'm not going to break down the exact protocol that you need to follow. You can find plenty of them online. There's 1,000 free workouts. There's 1,000 other programs on YouTube that are free too. Follow one of them, dial in your nutrition, train harder than you did yesterday, and your composition will start changing. So if it's really that simple, what's the excuse for not having the result? Well, that's only a micro portion of your day. There's 24 hours in a day. That's probably only 90 minutes to 2 hours of your day. The remaining 22 hours is where most of the guys get fucked. Most guys can't stay disciplined for 22 hours. Why? Because emotion, time, work, stress, lack of sleep, and every other excuse under the sun. So how do we start paying attention to that? It's called patterns of life, guys. Morning routine, evening routine, what you do on a day-to-day basis typically. When you start paying attention to those factors as well, now all of a sudden you start improving your sleep, you start improving your meal timing so that you're not eating too close to bed, so you actually sleep and get good rest and recovery, rather than when you're sleeping, you're digesting food, feeling like shit, looking like shit, waking up still tired the next day, because when you're sleeping, if you're digesting food, you're not doing what you're supposed to do, which is rest, recover, recuperate. Your body can't produce the hormones it's supposed to produce because it's too busy digesting all the food, and that takes a shit ton of energy to do. So you time your meals better, you drink more water. Most people don't drink enough water, chronically dehydrated, which ultimately results in them feeling like shit, looking like shit, brain fog, and everything else under the sun. So, to put a bow on this whole conversation and wrap it up real sweet and real nice for you, you guys are making too many excuses for why you're not playing the game in the right kind of way. Ultimately, you start tracking your nutrition. There's no excuse for you now not to. I just gave you the roadmap. If you follow it, it will work. If it doesn't work, and you see that in 2 weeks when you step on the scale, the number's going the wrong way. You're 255, and now, fuck it, dude, I'm 265. This Byron is an arsehole. No, Byron's not an arsehole. He gave you the recipe. You just didn't put enough output towards the calories that you were consuming or the macros that you were consuming. If that is the case, if you have put on weight, all you do is you dial the numbers back that I gave you by 5% or 10%, depending on how aggressive the weight gain was. So let's say you're now 265. Shit, dude, I've gone the wrong way. This guy's a dick. Dial back those macros that I gave you by 10%. So if you were supposed to be eating 235 grams of protein or carbs or whatever, take 10% off the table and follow the same recipe. And then increase your output. So increasing in the output will be things like training harder than you did yesterday, increasing your cardio. So ultimately doing more steps during the day. Most people think that a workout is 10,000 steps. Newsflash, guys, that's bare minimum shit. Like if you're thinking that, oh, I do a workout, Byron, because I do 10,000 steps, motherfucker, you should be doing 10,000 steps every day regardless. That doesn't count as your workout. That's like your minimum neat cardio. You should be doing over and above that, 30-ish minutes of some kind of something, like a walk. It doesn't have to be aggressive. Like everyone thinks cardio is going for a run. It's not. It can just be walking your dog. That's cool too. Especially if you're 300, 350 pounds. Please don't start running. You're going to fuck yourself up in a big way. Start walking a little bit more. Get out, get a bit more active. Things like getting sunshine, game changer for most people. Most people sit and they have these fucking lights blasting them all day. What happens? They don't get enough sun, lack of vitamin D, lack of vitamin B, etc. It's a compound effect. So, train correctly. Giving you the protocol. Big compound moves. Train harder today than you did yesterday and keep doing that. Rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. You'll get stronger, you'll get healthier, you'll look better, you'll feel better. The endorphin release will be money. All of a sudden, you're doing more work. Your calories will get to a point where if you're doing it the right way, won't be enough. You'll be like, shit, Byron, I'm hungry as a motherfucker. Good. That means your metabolism is firing. That means that you're actually doing work. That means that you're actually starting to feel better, look better, etc. Now we can afford to feed you a little bit more, especially if you're losing weight too aggressively. Like if you come out the gates and your first week you lose 10 pounds, shit, dude, you might think on paper that's a good thing. That's not a good thing. 10 pounds, yes, a lot of it will be water, some of it will be fat, but also you're sacrificing muscle at that point. We don't want to sacrifice that muscle. That muscle is metabolically active. That means that it burns calories to exist. If you're burning muscle mass, it means that your metabolically active system is becoming less as well. Bad times. That means that the calories that you're now taking in are too much for what you have. You're starting to go the other way. So, if you are losing weight too aggressively, the same thing when you're gaining weight too aggressively, you just change the calories in the other direction. Bump it up by 5 to 10%, or bump up your macros by 5 to 10%. So if you're eating 350 grams of protein, bump that by 5 to 10%. Now you're at 380 or whatever. Rinse, repeat, and you'll get where you want to go. Prioritize your sleep. I'm one of the worst at this. I'm not going to lie to you. I like the idea of getting a lot of sleep. I just don't get it. I get as much as I can, but the sleep that I do get is on point. I prioritize the shit out of it. I have a good nighttime routine that sets me up perfectly so that by the time I go to bed, I can drop into deep and REM sleep as quick as possible. The more deep and REM sleep you can get, the better your body's going to perform, recover, recuperate, etc. The more hormones you can produce in your sleep, which is what you need to do. And then also, guys, understand this. Your brain, the only time it can drain the toxins that build up over the course of a day is when you sleep. So those of you that are not sleeping enough or getting enough good quality sleep, understand you're fast tracking your way to dementia, Alzheimer's, and a bunch of other horrible shit too. So you might want to prioritize that stuff. Dial in your sleep, dial in your nutrition, dial in your water intake, and ultimately your workouts. There's a 4-part process that if you get those 4 things going on a consistent basis, you will ultimately start seeing those results. Now, at some point, that'll stop working, but it's not going to stop working before you hit your goal of 225, assuming that that was your goal in the first place. In terms of timelines, because this is another thing that I get on a frequent basis, like, hey man, I want to lose 20, 30 pounds. What's a realistic timeline? Typically speaking, I try and get guys to lose between 1 pound and 2 pounds a week. Never anything more than 2 pounds a week, because at that point you probably are sacrificing muscle mass. I don't want you sacrificing muscle mass. I want to build fucking savages. I want to build Viking monster men, not fucking Justin Bieber looking little baby bitches, right? I want you to occupy space, walk into a room, and motherfuckers go, Jesus Christ, who the fuck is that guy? Like, he looks like he could do some damage. That's the kind of guy that I respect. That's the kind of guy that I try and craft. You can't be that guy if you look like a stick figure, or like if the wind blew too hard, you'd fall over. So we want you occupying space, looking the part. So if we can get you to lose about 1 pound a week to maybe 2 pounds a week, we can ensure that a lot of that is water and fat. So that should be your timeline. You're losing 20 pounds, 30 pounds, 1 pound a week, 20 weeks, 30 weeks. Realistically speaking, at that point, you'll be a completely different animal. So now how do you do this? Because that'll be the final question that most people say is like, okay, Byron, I have the roadmap, but how do I track this shit? How do I get it done? There's this magical app. It's called MyFitnessPal. It's free. They will try and upsell you to their premium membership. It's $100 a month or $100 a year. You don't need it. The free version is just as good. You go into the app and you put in your stats. I'm currently 5'10", 250 pounds. My goal is 225. It'll do the math for you. Now, where MyFitnessPal will fuck you is in the calorie section. So you have to where MyFitnessPal will fuck you is in the macro section, because they always way overestimate how many carbs you need to eat. It's like 50% carbs. You don't need 50% carbs, you're fat. You've got all the carbs and the energy that you need. You don't need all of those carbs. So kill the carbs back a little bit. Run those numbers that I said. You can go into MyFitnessPal and edit them. Bottom right button, there's like 3 little dots. Hit that, go to goals, and then you can change your macro profile within there. Change it to the ratios that I told you. And ultimately, start tracking your food. Game changer. 5 tips, tricks. If you play that game and you run those numbers and you do the work, which is what it's going to take. It's going to take you guys actually doing work. You can't be sitting on the sofa thinking, oh yeah, well, this is going to work out for me if you're not doing the work yourself. I can give you the plan. I can give you the blueprint. I literally just gave you what I've given people who pay me $12,000 a year for coaching on. I've given it to you for free. So all you have to do at this point is just execute and do the work. But if you don't, please don't expect to see the results, because that's what got you fat in the first place. You didn't do the work. You just sat on the sidelines. You did the bare minimum. You ticked that bare minimum box every day for a long period of time. And that's ultimately why you are where you are now. So if you want change, you have to get out of your own way. You have to stop ticking that bare minimum box. Do some actual hard shit that's going to make you feel a little bit uncomfortable. But in doing so, you're going to get to a point where you start feeling better, looking better, you turn up differently, you have better energy, and everything else starts working from there. So start paying attention to what you put in your face. I always use this analogy on a lot of my coaching calls. If you have a Lamborghini and you put junk parts and junk gas and junk oil and everything else in the Lamborghini, it might look good on the outside, but it's going to function like shit. And eventually the way that it functions on the inside will be a representation on the outside. The same thing happens with you as a human being. If you're fueling yourself with shit, you're not resting, recovering, recuperating, which is servicing your vehicle. Most of you look after your vehicles better than you look after yourself, which is pretty fucked when you think about it. Because your car breaks down, you can just buy another one. Your body breaks down, you're fucked, dude. You don't just go to eBay and buy another one. It's like, it's a wrap for you. Your body breaks down, you done. So maybe you should start prioritizing a little better. Maybe you should start looking after this rig, because this is the one that you have for life. That car that's sitting out in the driveway, bitch, that thing breaks down, throw it away, get another one. That next one breaks down, throw it away, get another one. It's interchangeable. This isn't. You should start treating this a little bit better than you treat your cars. I hope you guys found today's episode useful. Please follow those steps. Let me know in the comment section below how they go for you. Love to hear your feedback. If you have any questions, shoot me a message. I'm on Instagram all the time. This bitch has been going off the entire time I've been here. So if you need help, shoot me a message on Instagram. Be more than happy to help you out. Like, subscribe, share. We'll see you guys next time. Cheers for now.